my name's Rhiannon from Blue Dog Board Games, and today we're going to do a solo playthrough of the beautiful board game called Earth. Now this is a tableau building game where you are gaining cards into your ecosystem, you're building it up, trying to gain as much growth, as many sprouts, and as many cards in your compost as possible in order to score the most points. You're also trying to earn points according to various scoring criteria and bonus cards at the end of the game. We are playing against the AI that comes in the box today. It's not really like an automatic opponent, it's like drawing a card and they're doing a turn, scoring much in the same way as you are. We have chosen the medium difficulty today and we will see how we get on. We're all set up ready to go, so let's get going. So this is us all set up ready for a game of Earth. This is the solo AI's board and they've got a deck of cards that they're going to be running through twice. This is our little board here. I will just run through the cards that you can see out and about just because I don't have like a zoomed in lens so you can see it a bit clearer because they all have writing on and these are all the like scoring bits at the end of the game and the objectives. So I've got, you can choose whatever side you want. So I've already chosen mine according to like the scoring criteria about what I think I want to be doing on my turn in the game. So this one gives me a green actioned +1 card into my hand for every like water icon I plant during that turn. This one gives me +2 growth if I choose this red action up here. And this one down here, the Australian Temperate Forest, absolutely beautiful. That gives me 7 points per 2 flora at the end of the game, each with 6 growth on it. And the growth doesn't actually, sorry, not growth, sprouts. This growth sprouts compost soil. I'm going to mix up my words, but hopefully you'll see what I'm doing. So that's per 6 sprouts at the end of the game, but the sprouts aren't actually needed, just the spaces for them on those cards. And these are our scoring criteria. So this Western Honeybee up here, we can tick off this objective and get the victory points if we have 9 or more cards, each with a soil cost of 3 or less. The grasshopper, we need 4 or more of a certain like shrub type. We've got like different icons, like there's mushrooms and trees and like shrubs and things like that. This one needs shrub type things. I don't even know what they are, but I'm going to call it a shrub. And then this moose, 7 or more flora, each with 2 or less growth, and the frog, 3 or more green abilities. And I've already got a green ability down here. It does actually include, if it actually tells you to include it, it includes whatever is on your like island board as well. And then finally up here we've got 2 extra scoring criteria, so 4 points per 3 cards with an even number of victory points. Each card also has like base victory points as well. And then earn points depending on the total number of trees in your island, up to 30. So that's all of us. To actually start the game, they're all sort of set up. They just have to shuffle the cards and they're all ready to go. But our island card that we select, it tells us down here like how many cards we're drawing, how much soil we start with, and how many cards we have to discard immediately into our compost. This one's telling me I need to draw 12, put 5 into my compost, and then draw 6 soil. So let's draw 12. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 6 soil. And I'm going to look at my cards and decide which ones I want to put into my compost. Okay, so I have decided to keep these ones and compost these 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these go straight into my compost pile. And then I can start the game. So I just take a turn by selecting one of these 4 actions up here. I can pop this by the action that I want to do. I do the action that it says. Down here is when there's if you're playing the hard difficulty, we're just going to do the normal difficulty. So these are the actions up here that we're taking. Then we activate any colour abilities that we have that it tells you to. And then they do an ability. So it might be like we're adding anything that our cards that we've gained on our turn into their pile, or they're gaining some sprouts or something. So we'll go through it as we get there. So I think to start with, I might want to actually just get going and plant some bits. Just because I've got absolutely nothing to like activate or do at the moment. So I'm actually going to straight away play this lava tube event. So these ones are events, they give you an immediate ability. It may give you plus or minus points at the end of the game. This one is worth 0 points, but it does allow me to spend a soil to pick up 2 cards into my hand. So they can be played at like any time during your turn. These ones, I want green abilities really. But there you go, I don't have green abilities. So what do I want to do? I've got 5 soil. Okay, this one's really nice. I do quite like this one. This is the cherry tree. It's got 6 growth, 6 sprouts that I can have on it. So that's going to be really good for my scoring here. And allows you to add a sprout onto each tree in the column. And I need trees for this one over here. But that is worth, I need to spend 4 soil in order to, plant that one. But then I've got one that I need to only spend 1 soil. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to start the game by planting 2 cards by paying the cost. So let's just pay it all now. One of them's needs 1 soil, one of them needs 4 soil, so I've spent 5. And then you are planting in a 4x4 grid. Whoever finishes planting their 4x4 grid in a game triggers the end game, unless the AI goes through their whole deck twice. You can, they're sort of, the grid is sort of fluid, so you can sort of add to your left column or add to the right column as you go. You just have to plant like orthogonally or diagonally to your last card. So I can't like start in the bottom left corner and then go to the top right corner. It has to be orthogonal or diagonal. So I'm going to start up here in the top right corner, I believe, and put my cherry tree up there. And we're going to start doing, this is +1 sprout per tree in this column. So I'm going to start putting my trees in this column here. And then I don't think this really matters where this goes. So I'm going to pop you right next to you. The only other thing to be sort of mindful of are the abilities. So when you activate abilities, you can activate anything in your like tableau island area first, and then your entire tableau that you've laid out with cards. You can do your tableau or your island first. It doesn't matter which one. But when you activate them, you have to do like left to right. So if I had another red ability over here, I'd have to activate this one over here before this one, and you do it like you're reading a book. You can't sort of jump around. So that's one thing to be mindful of. The next action that I'm doing then is drawing 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. I then choose one to keep and then give the other 3 to the AI player. So I'm going to have a look at what I've got and choose which one I want to keep. I got a heat wave here, which is worth -3 points at the end of the game. But it allows me to get rid of 3 sprouts to get 6 growth. I don't really see the point of that, if I'm totally honest, because it's worth -3. I'm going to be minusing an extra 3 points from my sprouts. And then I gain 6 to offset that. So unless I've got something scoring with like growth, it's just pointless to me, I think. So I'm going to get rid of you. I've got a tree. The tree's nice. And I've got these like shrub things that I need. So shrub things are very nice as well. I'm just looking at this tree though. This tree doesn't have any growth. Sorry, sprouts. Doesn't have any sprouts, and this is +1 sprout to each tree in my column. So you're going to go as well. I don't want you. So let's look at these 2. They're very similar actually. So we're still looking at cards with an even number of victory points. They're both 0, 9 or more cards each with a soil cost of 3 or less. These both meet that as well. All right. Which one looks nicer? They're both quite pretty in a very green way. I think we're going to stick with the lily pads, and the oak moss is going to go to the AI. So that is our turn. It's now their turn. So we're just drawing a card and seeing what they do. So they have drawn one of the brown cards, which means he is going to choose either the lower fauna objective and place 1 leaf token. So he's going to just satisfy one of these objectives. And I'm just going to randomly choose one of the lower ones. We're going to go with the right hand corner. So he's now scoring 15 points from that objective. So if I now satisfy that one at any one point in my turn, I only gain the 11 points, not the 15. So it's a bit of a race as to who gets the higher points. There are some different abilities down here. So if you're doing the beginner difficulty, you then skip his next turn, or Gaia's next turn. In expert, you also do something a little bit different. It tells you down here. But we're just going to do the standard today, so it's now back to my turn, and I need to think about what I want to do. Before I'm going to do anything else, I'm going to play this event, the fog event. So that just gives me 0 points at the end of the game, but I do get a growth and a sprout. So let's put this growth over here, and we're going to start building this. What else do I want to do? I really want some trees, if I'm honest. I don't have many trees. Oh, look at that. This is +1 sprout to each tree in the row. I need soil though, because I can't actually get anything right now. So I'm going to look for soil. So let's do that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to take 5 soil and draw, no, that is take 2 cards from the deck to put in my compost. I then activate red and multicolour abilities. Now if you remember, you can either activate your tableau first or your island. I don't think it actually matters for me. It sometimes matters if you need to gain cards before you compost them from your hand. So we're just going to activate this over here first. So this is -1 from my composted cards. So I'll just stick that somewhere in the deck randomly to draw 2. You don't have to resolve these if you don't want to. So I didn't have to do that if I didn't want to. And if it's got a colon in and it's a straight trade like this one is, I have to discard 1 from my compost to gain the 2 to my hand. Unless it has that in it, it's all sort of optional how much you fulfill it. So it could be draw or take 5 sprouts. You don't have to take all 5, you could take 3. So these just come to me. I will think about them in a minute, but they are very pretty. And then I'm going to activate this one here. So +2 growth if you chose the red action. So I'm going to grow this over here. I might at some point in the game change to just using these canopies, especially with the AI player, because it just gets really messy. There we go. So these have a maximum height that they can grow to. This one's only a height of 1, so I would, if I grew that one, just be placing the canopy, and it tells you how many victory points they're worth. So if I placed 1 growth there, it would be worth 1 victory point. This one has a maximum of 3, so I've got 2 of the brown ones, and the canopy is the 3rd one. That's worth 5 points now if it's complete, otherwise they're worth just 1 each. So that is my turn. Then we have to look at what they're doing, because they're always going to react to what you're doing, very much like a multiplayer game. Now this one is printed really weirdly, so I might have to just check Board Game Geek again to try and clarify what it actually is. So it's +2 to the compost, and then so he gets 2 to his compost, and then 1 extra to your compost per soil I gained this turn. So I gained 5 soil, so he's going to get an extra 2. There we go. I just find it's got a slash in it, so I'm just that's meant to be per, but to me that's all. But there you go. So their second go, water. So usually when you've got the brown ones, that's just an objective one. They're just going to satisfy an objective. But normally if there's like another colour, like this one is a blue one, they're going to give you an action first. So I'm able to either choose 2 sprouts or 2 soil to pick up. And then I activate my abilities of the colours that it says. Now I'm just aware of what they're going to do. They're going to get 7 sprouts and then gaining a sprout per blue ability of mine. So that's not going to be affected by what I choose up here. Do I want sprouts or do I want soil? I think I want soil at this moment in time. So I'm going to take the 2 soil. I've learnt my lesson with this. I'm keeping it separate for now. I'm going to try and keep everything like soil or, you know, anything that I gain separate, because it keeps it quite difficult to keep track of if you put it all back in your supply and then you read the next part and then it's like, oh, per whatever you gained this turn, I don't know how much I gained. But yeah, I'll just do it for now. Activate blue and multicoloured abilities. So I've only got 1, so I'm just going to gain 1 sprout per tree in this column. I wonder if it means itself. I reckon it does, you know. It is a tree in that column. So I'm going to put a sprout on it. Unfortunately, this game doesn't come with like an index of all the cards. I think it would have been exceedingly helpful to have an index of exactly what the cards do and just some clarifications, because it's like for each tree in this column, it would be like always includes itself or something like that. I'm assuming it does. It never says anywhere that it doesn't. So I'm just going to roll with it. That is my ruling. Then finally we finish off what he's doing. So he gets 7 sprouts. So 3, if I can get them, 4, 5, 6, 7, and places them on his little track. This is all so fiddly. That's one criticism I have of this game in the AI. These are in rows of 7, which makes it weird to count. Why would you not do it in rows of 10? And it's just so fiddly. And then plus a sprout per blue ability of mine. So he just gets an extra 1. And then it's back to my turn. Okay, so I think I may plant again. I'm going to plant again because I want to get this cinnamon tree out. This is going to be really good in relation to this one. So I want to plant you there. I'm going to spend 5 soil for that. That allows me to put a sprout on each tree in this row. So I'm going to grow my trees out from there. I'm a bit light on trees now. In fact, I don't have any other trees, so I really need some more cards. I've only got 2 soil left, so I can play you or you. Which one do I want? The oleander, which is really pretty. Oh, they're poisonous to the touch apparently. Or the sunny hillside terrain. I won't do the sunny hillside. This one gives me an immediate 7 growth. And unless I start like tearing down this canopy in this tree there, I don't want that right now because I want to use that to its full ability. So I'm going to just choose to plant this one for 1. Where do I want you? You're not a tree, so I'm going to try and put you up here somewhere, I think, or I could put you diagonally. Where do I want you? Where do I want you? I don't think it makes much difference. So you're going to come here. And then I'm going to draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And choose one to keep. I need a tree. There are no trees. Okay. What else am I trying to gain? Green abilities. There's no green abilities. 6 or more growth. That one has 6 or more growth. It's also got an even number of points, so that's looking good. That one, the Sacred Lotus, is like a shrub, but it's an odd number of points. I'm not sure I really want a shrub right now though. Yeah, we're going to keep this Venus flytrap. These ones go face up in their pile. Then we activate all of our green abilities. The only one I have is this one, +1 card to my hand for every like sea or water I planted this turn, and I didn't plant any, so it's back to their turn. They are now going to claim another objective. So this one is either upper fauna objective. So let's go the opposite. They're going to go over here. Now it's my turn. Now I really need some trees. Really need trees. I also need soil. There is like a conversion here, so at any point you can get rid of 3 sprouts to gain 2 soil, which would be fantastic if I could get this engine going. So I'm going to draw more cards. Let's go to the yellow action. This allows me to draw 4 cards into my hand. Have I got any trees? Yes, I've got a tree, and it's a 6 sprout one as well, so that's fantastic. So yeah, that would be really good. What else? Beach and crater. Ooh, that's 5 points per tree diagonally adjacent to this terrain. Oh, that's really cool. Because I could pop you, but then you're not going to be I could pop you there and try and do trees all around that. Anyway, I don't need to actually discard any, so I don't know why I'm analysing them so much. I then gain 2 growth. I think I will start growing. Let's grow down here. Then I activate all yellow and multicolour abilities. So the only one I have is this one, which allows me to pick up another card from my hand. Fertile land. That gives me 2 points per card, costing 4 or more soil. That's not great because that one clashes with this honeybee 9 or more cards each with a soil cost of 3 or less. So I think I'll look to compost that one at some point. Then the AI gains 1 growth per card I drew this turn. So I drew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he gets 5 growth. So I'm actually just going to do their canopy. So that's the 5. Oh yeah, that's all the 5. There we go. That's it. That's it. I feel like this is a really slow game to get going. Right, their turn. So I have the option to plant now. So I can plant 1 and draw 1 into my hand and activate all green abilities. I've got a grand total of 1 soil. So I could plant this turkey tail. The tsunami event's not going to help. That's the only thing I can plant. Do I want to plant you? Probably. Let's plant you. It's a waste of an action otherwise. Where do I want you? I think here. Yeah, let's pop you here. Out the way. No. Yes. This is the column of trees. Then I can draw 1 into my hand. Oh, there's lots of mushrooms. I don't want mushrooms. Activate green abilities. Again, the only one I have is this one. It's not going well. And that one doesn't activate because it's not a water. And then the AI is going to add 3 cards to their pile. 1, 2, 3. And they just go face up. Back to me. So they have got 2 turns left in this. Then we reshuffle the deck and go through it once more. So I really need to get a move on. I really need some trees. So I think what I might actually do is go to the blue ability and start gaining some sprouts and soil. Let's do that. I'm going to do the blue. I gain 6 sprouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you gain the sprouts, you can distribute them any which way you want to. So I'm just going to pop them over here, avoiding these ones so I can then activate them in a second. I gain 2 soil. And then I activate all blue and multicolour. So I've got nothing here that's relating to that. So let's just do blue, and you have to go left to right. So I gain a sprout. Again, that can go anywhere. So I'm going to put that on you. And then I gain a sprout on each tree in this column. And then this one, gain a sprout on each tree in this row. That's very nice. Unfortunately though, this is going to mean he's going to get 1 sprout per blue ability of mine. So I've got 1, 2, 3 now. So he's gaining 3 extra sprouts. Okay, his go. Grow. So I get 2 growth or 2 cards to my hand. I think I need the cards to my hand, if I'm honest. Have I got any trees? Yes, I've got 2 trees. Okay. They're all very like sprout and card heavy though. I need to start composting stuff. So gain 2 cards to my hand, activate yellow and multicolour abilities. So nothing over here. Over here though, I can compost 1 from my hand to draw 2 cards. I'm going to do that. There was 1 in here. If you get so many cards after a while, it's hard to keep track of what you actually wanted. There was 1 that I looked at, I was like, that's really just not what I want right now. Can't remember which one it was. Here we go, it's the fertile land. So let's compost from my hand to draw 2 more. Oh, that's so pretty. Field bindweed and a potato. That gives me +1 sprout on each like shrub in this column. Oh, that could be good. This yellow ability is minus a growth. No, minus a sprout to get 2 growth. But anyway, they're sort of besides the point right now. And then I can draw another card to my hand. Wow, wow, wow. I've got so many cards, I really need to compost them. Now, he is going to gain 7 growth, plus another growth per card I took this turn. So that's unfortunately quite a lot. So I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he is going to get a total of 12 growth. So we're going to do, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ouch. So I really need to get a move on with some of these objectives now. So we're still looking at shrubs. How many shrubs have I got? A grand total of 0. How many have I got here? I've got 1, 2. So that's a good start. That could get us halfway. These also would help us with this objective up here. 7 or more flora, each with 2 or less growth. These both have 2 or less growth. Also, that would help us with this one. 9 or more cards, each with a soil cost of 3 or less. So I think I'm going to have a look at those, which means I need a lot more soil, which means I need to get more soil. I'm also looking at the tsunami event, so that means I can minus 5 growth, just get rid of all the growth from my tableau to gain 6 cards into my hand. That will just give me so many more options. I really want some cards now to like compost from my hand. So this is compost from my hand, so that's really good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to play this one in a second. We're not going to get too much growth from that. Anyway, do I want to do that? I'm going to do that. It's worth minus 4 points though. It's probably not worth it, is it? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Oh, I don't know. I need 6 soil. So How do I get 6 soil? What do I want to do? Go and get some soil. I'm going to go here to gain 5 soil. So I'm going to keep that aside. And then I gain 2 to my compost. I then activate all red and multicolour abilities. So this means I can -1 from my compost. So let's put you over here. To gain 2 into my hand. I'm just gaining so many cards. None of them have green abilities as well, which is really annoying. But whatever. Rubber tree and a golden chanterelle. Okay. Think about you in a minute. Then I can activate you plus 2 growth if you chose the red action. I absolutely did. So let's get you 1 and 2. So they gain 2 into their compost, and then they gain an extra compost per 2 soil I gained this turn. So I gain 5, so they gain an extra 2. Okay, I really have to get a move on. There we go. They are... No, I can either gain 2 soil or 2 into my compost. I'm going to gain the soil. And then activate red and multicolour. So the only one that activates is this one. I don't think I want any more cards from my hand to my hand right now. Unless I'm trying to get more green abilities. I really do need green abilities. We just need to find a green ability. Have we got any? No. No. No, no, no. Okay. And then they gain 8 into their compost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then they gain a soil per soil I gained this turn. So I did choose the soil, didn't I? So they gain 2 soil. They have a little collection area here where they collect their soil. Every time they gain 10 soil in this area, they add 5 cards to their compost. So now it's my go. We're going to need to reshuffle their deck in a second. I need to go planting desperately. So I'm going to go here. Let's see if we have enough soil to plant what we want. So my 2 big ones that I wanted to plant were these 2. So I need 6. I have plenty. So I'm going to plant these guys. 6 soil. What do I want to do with you? That's 1 sprout on each shrub in this column. There's not many shrubs around. I have zilch shrubs. So I'm going to just put you here and hope that I can get a shrub below you at some point. And then you're going to go here because you are a shrub. I'm going to move these guys all up a little bit so they're not cut off the camera. I don't know if they'll be cut off. Got lots of blue abilities. There we go. That'll have to do, I think. Then we draw 4, 2, 3, 4. Choose 1 to keep. Yes, we got a green ability. I think we're just going to keep that one, whether we want it or not. That gives us another card into our hand. That could be all right, actually. That will be, I've got green ability there, green ability there. I need 1 more to get that objective. -7 sprouts to gain 8 soil. That could be pretty cool. -3 sprouts, -3 growth to gain 4 soil and 4 cards to my hand. I don't want that. I don't want any more cards to my hand, if I'm honest. And I don't think I want that one either. So I'm just going to keep this green ability. And then I activate greens. And that's +1 card to my hand for every like sea icon I played. I still don't have any seas. So it's their turn again. I'm actually just going to check where I am in terms of some of the objectives. So 9 or more with a cost of 3 or less. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're getting there. Which ones are cheap? That's quite cheap. But that's not a... So I want to do you. You're a green ability, the Scrubland. What else do I want to do? These are all quite expensive. 3 or less. That's 3 or less. Are you going to be good for anything else though? 2 or less growth. That's meeting 2 criteria. That's too expensive. That's pretty nice if I'm honest. That's going to give me 7 immediate growth. That's 3 or less. That's 3 or less. And these are both okay in terms of growth. Even number of victory points. That one's an even number of victory points. So I think I might go for you. Oh, this allows me to recycle from my hand. So I think this one should be a big priority if I'm honest. +1 growth on each mushroom in this row. I don't think I need anything else to think about. So let's maybe try and do the rubber tree. Oh, I don't know. We've got too many options right now. There you go. They're going to shuffle their cards. So they are grabbing the upper objective. So we are really lagging behind on this. What do I want to do then? I need to start recycling. So I'm going to, maybe I should go and do the yellow abilities, or shall I plant stuff? I'm actually going to plant again. So I need more soil. I'm going to do this now. So -3 sprouts to gain 2 soil. And that gives me enough. So I'm going to plant. So I'm going to spend all 5 to plant these 2. Do I want to do that? Oh my god. I'm actually going to do that again. To gain an extra 2. Because I want to plant you 2. So you're going to cost me an extra soil. I want to plant this Scrubland to get me a green ability. Then I want to plant this rubber tree, which is going to allow me to compost from my hand because I need to get rid of these because they're going to be worth nothing at the end of the game if they're in my hand. So where do I want you? You are worth 3 points per bush in the column. So I've got a bush there, so I might pop you there as going against this one. But I'm either going to go against this one or this one. So we're just going to roll with that, I think. And then we've planted the rubber tree. You are a tree, so I want to maybe put you here. There we go. Draw 4 and take 1. I need a green ability. I've got another green ability. There we go. Here we go. Keeping that one. I'm not even going to look at the rest. Yeah, they're not going to be much good to me anyway. Got a green ability. And activate green abilities. So let's do this first. I gain another darn card to my hand. I don't need any more. I've got so many. I've never had this many cards in my hand. And they are not doing anything. They've gained my discarded cards. So their turn. Oh my god. This is really bad. They have got all of the objectives before I did. I'm really slow on the objectives today. Really, really slow. I get so distracted. How are we doing with that? So I need 4 more shrubs. I've only got the 2. I've just noticed that these symbols, the water symbols, are actually here is terrain. So I was meant to last round draw an extra card, so I'm going to do that now. Bee balm. Don't really want you. Oh, maybe I do, because shrubs. I've got 2 shrubs. This is a shrub, the bee balm. It's only going to cost me 3, which is going to allow me to get that. It's going to satisfy that one as well. So that actually is a really good card if I could get you as well. So I need soil. In fact, there's no actual rush to get these objectives now, because I'm not going to be able to get the 15 points. I'm only after the 11. So we could nearly get there. Have I got another one of these shrubs? Shrubby things. How can I not have a single shrub? I don't have a single shrub in all of this deck. So we'll look out for another one. So 9 or more cards each with a soil cost of 3 or less. Where am I at with that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd need another 2. 7 or more flora with 2 or less growth. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're nearly there with that one. So we need another shrub with small growth. So we're going to go and get some soil. So we're going to get 5 soil. And I can get 2 to my compost pile, not from my hand. I need to do so much. Activate red and multicolored abilities. So I can -1 from my compost. I'm going to have to do that to draw even more cards. It's just insane the amount of cards that I'm churning through. Anything? Anything? No. No. Oh, they're so pretty, but I don't want you. And reds. I don't have any more reds. Multicolour. I get 2 growth because I chose the red action. So that's good. Where do I want to grow? You're going to give me quite a lot of points. So maybe I'll do the 2 growth on the rubber tree. Yeah. He's going to gain 2 compost plus a compost per 2 soil. I gained 5, so he's gaining 2. There we go. His turn. Plant. Here we go. So I can plant one. I think, what should I plant? I want a green, I swear I put them at the top, they're here. Let's plant this one, I think. Or shall I plant this one first? No, I'm going to plant this one because I'm able to activate it this turn as well. So I'm going to spend 4 to plant you somewhere. Where do I want to plant you? That's 3 points per shrubby thing in the row. So I'm going to put you down here because I may be able to get some shrubby things over there. Then I can gain 1 into my hand. No shrubby thing. There's different types of shrub things. There's like a fruit bush looking one and like a tree type shrub there. Activate green abilities. So let's do this one first. So +1 card to my hand for every terrain I played this turn. Oh, I've got one. It's very expensive though. Elephant grass, 6 soil, so that's not great. 6 growth, so that's no good either. But it will give me this one, so maybe I'll keep you at the top. I draw an extra card and I gain a soil. So let's draw the extra card. You're going to be better. There we go. We gained a shrub. At the bottom, rosemary. That's more like it. And a soil. They're going to gain 3 cards to their face-up pile. Oh my gosh, I'm so lagging. I am so lagging. Anyway, it's supposed to be at the end of your turn, but it really doesn't matter in this solo game. So I have now satisfied this one. 3 or more green abilities. I have 1 here on my island, and then I have 2 in my tableau. At long last, I'm gonna go and get some growths and soil so I can hopefully churn out some soil with the conversion to try and pay for my last few growths. I don't think I'm going to get all these objectives. It's going to be a bit of a tight turn. How many times has he got left? He's got 3. I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to do anything. I haven't composted from my hand at all. It's so bad. I've got so many cards. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just stick you guys anywhere. And then 2 soil. And then I can activate all blue and multicolour. So there's nothing here. So I gain another sprout. I think you're at fault. Yeah. And then +1 sprout per tree on this column. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then +1 sprout per tree in the row, just you, and then +1 sprout per tree shrub thing in this column. Okay, that was pretty good. We got lots of sprouts. And then here I can -2 from my compost pile to gain 2 soil and a growth. I'm going to do that. Not a growth, a sprout. 2 soil. I need my soil. And a sprout. We got so many sprouts now. That's really good. Multicolour, I don't have any multicolour, so he gets 1 sprout per blue of mine. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this is getting quite stressful. I really wanted to get some of those objectives before he did. So I can choose now whether I want soil or 2 cards to my compost. Activate reds. So what am I doing with my reds? That's allowing me to draw even more cards. I really don't have many red abilities. I want to be able to plant you and you in a minute. So that leaves me with 6 soil. Ideally, I'd like to plant you as well. And you would be quite good. So I need more soil, I think. I think the soil is probably ultimately going to be better for me. And then activate the reds. The only one I've got here is this. I don't think I want to draw more cards to my hand now. So I'm going to leave that. He gains 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gosh, he's doing so well. And he gains a soil per soil I gained this turn. So I only gained 2 soil, so he gains 2 soil. And he's only got 4 here, so he's not doing too much. My go. I am planting. Absolutely. Plant away. So let's plant both of you. So that's 6 soil. Right, where do you guys want to go? So if I put you there, actually, yeah, well, you're going there, and I don't think it really matters where you go. That's minus a growth to get a soil and compost in your hand, to your hand. Woo! Yeah, I don't think you're gonna matter. Let's stick you down here. No, we're going over here. Going over that. There we go. Then let's draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep 1. Oh wow, look at that one. Blue milk. These edible mushrooms are known for their bitter taste. The blue colour disappears when cooked. God, that's so cool. That is a waste right now. This is a terrain that allows you to decrease the cost of a certain type of card. It's too late in the game for that now. Let's see which ones are worth a lot of points. Terrains. The AI doesn't score for terrains at the end of the game, so that's really good to get rid of them to them. So I think I'm just going to keep you because you have less growth, which just in case, it's soil cost, just in case I'm still behind on that. So I'm just going to reevaluate now. No, we're not. We're going to activate greens first. So what have I planted? I haven't planted any terrain, so ignore that. +1 card to my hand. Again. Have we not already seen garlic? I think maybe. I saw it yesterday. And then I gain a soil. So let's have a look where we are. So 9 or more cards, each with a soil cost of 3 or less. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we need 1 more. So we're going to play you in a second. And then we've got that one. 4 or more shrubby things. I think I've got that one now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. We've finally got that one. This one, 7 or more flora with 2 or less growth. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And then I've completely half forgotten about what all of these were doing. There is just so much to look at. So this one was trees. I'm not doing too bad with trees, I don't think. I've got 1, 2, 3. I sort of forgot about that then. Have I got any more trees here? Got any more trees? Probably not now. Avocado tree. White oak. Let's put you in a pile. Avocado, white oak. Where's the rest? Shoestring acacia. Cat spruce. They're all quite expensive. Okay, and then that one is points per even victory points. And this is 7 points per 2 flora, each with 6 or more growth. So you could be really good to plant, and you could be really good to plant. Let's put you in priority order. So I want to plant you first. And then, actually it doesn't matter which one's worth more victory points. This one, but it's worth more soil. Okay. There we go. I put it in priority order of what I want to plant. Whew, there we go. At least we've got some more objectives now. We were really cutting it fine. Whew, there we go. So I can choose +2 growth or +2 cards to my hand. I am not gaining more cards to my hand. I'm going to gain these growth here. Growth there. I'm doing so badly on the growth, and I can't believe I've ended the game with all of these cards in my hand. So he's gaining 7 growth plus a growth per card taken by me this turn. So I have, sorry. Yellow abilities and multicolour. So I can do some yellow abilities now. I am not doing that one though. Gain a card to my hand to draw 2 more. Gain a card to my hand. I may as well. This one, compost 2. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's compost you and you. I don't want you guys. And this is minus a growth to get a soil and a compost. I'm going to do that. So minus a growth to get 1 soil, and I can compost 1 from my hand. And this is compost 2 from my hand. Okay, that's good. That was good. Then he's going to get 7 growth plus 1 growth per card taken by me this turn. So I took 1. Oh, I didn't want to take that then. Let's put 1 back. Sorry, I'm not even looking at these cards right now, so it doesn't actually matter what I took. So he doesn't gain that. I didn't gain any other cards. So he's just going to gain the 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't want all of these yellows. Let's get a different colour. Let's swap you guys around. Alright, he's got 1 go left. I won't be able to finish the tableau in time. Whoever triggers the end of the game by finishing their tableau gains an extra 7 victory points. I will not be able to because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces left. So I think the best thing that I can do is plant, which is a bit annoying, but I think I will. I really wanted to go, I don't even know where I wanted to go, here to store compost a bit more. Let's have a look at my events. I've got an event in here somewhere, just 1. Does the event do something? -5 growth to add 6 cards to my hand. Not doing that. So I think the best thing for me to do really is plant, because that will allow me to get that final objective cards for 11 points. So let me think about, that will give me an extra 2 growth. So the red's really weak basically. Let's count. So that's going to give me 1, 2 points, 3, 4 points, 5, 6 points at the end of the game, 6 points. This will give me 6. This one's better. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Maybe this is a better option. 15. That will give me 15 points. And this one I don't think is going to give me a lot. So that's going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 points. So green, if I planted, that's going to give me 7, 8, 9. Plus I get that. So that's by far the better option. Isn't it? By far. And then let's look at the rest. That's going to give me an extra tree, and that's also going to be, oh gosh, this is confusing now. I'm better off though planting you, I think. Oh no, even number of points. Even number of points. So I either want you or you. And if I planted you, you will allow me to not have to do a conversion of sprouts to soil. So I'm planting. I'm spending 4, 1, 2. The soil isn't worth anything at the end of the game, so I can just ignore that basically. I'm going to put you here, and then you, doesn't matter now, here. This is an immediate ability, so I gain 7 growth. So where do I want to put that? I think it might be better to do 5 here. Let's get blue. 5, and then I've got a 6, 7 up here to finish you guys off. No, 6, 7. That's going to give me more victory points, I think. There we go. Gain 4. Keep 1. I'm going to keep whatever has the biggest victory points. So these 2 don't matter because they don't score terrains. And I'm going to keep that one and give you that one. Then we activate greens. So So let's do this first. +1 card to my hand for every terrain I planted this turn. And then +1 card to my hand. Do I want to be adding these to my hand now? I don't think it really matters, does it? Curry tree. So cool looking at all of the pictures. And a soil, which makes no difference now. And then they are triggering the end of the game by doing this. +2, I can do +2 soil or +2 sprouts. So I'm going to get the sprouts. So let's gain you guys over here. And then activate blue and multicolour. So nothing here. So I gain a sprout. I need lots of sprouts actually. Let's grab a handful. So I got a sprout. And then this is a sprout per tree in the column. You're full. Go. And that one. This one I can minus. That's just going to give me soil. I don't want that. Tree in the row. You're full up. Per shrubbery thing in the column. You, and you. And this one down here. Oh, multicolour. Minus a growth to compost from my hand. I don't think there's any benefit for me doing that. And then -2 to gain a sprout. Nope. So that is me done. His go, he's gaining 7 plus a sprout per blue ability. So I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's gaining 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow, that's quite a lot of sprouts. So he triggers the end of the game there, which means he puts his leaf on this 7 victory point space. We now proceed to final scoring, and I will explain to you how that works. And there's a lot of maths involved, so I'm going to grab a calculator as well. Okay, so scoring for the AI is a very long-winded process, so we're going to start and count up as we go. So they gain victory points according to their face-up pile. Now, they don't gain any victory points at all from their terrains, the little brown cards, and any event cards that have minus points on them, they turn them to positives. So I'm just going to count that up and let you know what that is. So they've gained 47 points from that. That's loads. Usually it's like 20 something. Then we add 1 victory point per sprout. So these are in rows of 7. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 7 is 28. So 29 sprouts. Then we gain 1 victory point per trunk or the canopy completion victory points. So they haven't got any like trunks, they've just got all the canopy completions. I just have not put them on the board like I have on mine here, just because I end up like knocking them all over the place. So helpfully, they have actually put the victory points at the end of the rows on this one instead of that one. So they've got 25 there, and then they gain 7 victory points, so that's 32 plus 6, so 38 victory points from those bits there. And then 1 victory point per card in compost, so let's count that up as well. 28 points from their compost. And then we are looking at victory points from leaf tokens placed on their fauna board. So this is the fauna board up here where all the objectives are. So they've gained a massive 60 points from the objectives, 67 because they get the extra 7 from completing their tableau first, which is simulated by them running through their deck twice. Before I managed to complete my tableau, I have 2 spare spaces. That is it. So they have got a grand total of 209 points. Let me write that down. 209. Wow, that's not bad. They were usually averaging like 150, 160, 170 on the medium difficulty normally for me. I played it on the hard difficulty last night, and they got only about 10 more points than their score here. So we'll see how I do. My scoring is very, very similar. So I get the base victory points of all cards in my island and climate cards. Nothing in my hand. I also have to then pay attention to what events I've played, but both of mine are worth 0 victory points, so I can just ignore them. You do also need to be aware that there are victory points on these bits, so your actual island card and your climate card. I completely forgot about that rule until the other day, and so that one's worth 4. So I'm just going to count up my base victory points on my cards. So I've only got 23 from this bit and my tableau. Oh, events, I don't have any victory points from events. Compost, my compost is very thin as well. I wish it was this one instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. I've only got 11 cards in my compost. This is not looking good. Not looking good at all. So now it's sprouts in the tableau. So let me count that. 29 sprouts. Then trunks and canopies. 23 from that. Terrain cards with endgame scoring. So I do have a couple of terrain cards with endgame scoring. Quite frankly, I'd forgotten about those, so I don't think I really gained anything from there. So this is 3 points per shrub in the column. Actually, I do have one, so I gained 3 from that. That's quite good for an incidental finding. And that is 3 points per shrub in the row. It's not shrub, I don't know what it is, fruit bush. But I don't have any in that row, so I can ignore that bit. Then we've got fulfilled ecosystem objectives and my objective up here and anything down here. Oh wow, I really need to like crank up my points. So this is 7 points per 2 flora, each with 6 sprouts. So I've got 1 here. Remember, the sprouts don't actually have to be present, so these are sprouts, but it needs sprout spaces. So I've got 1, 2, 3, is that 5, 4. So that's quite good. So 14 points there. That's not too bad. And then this one, 3 cards per 3 cards with an even victory point number. 0 is counted as even. So I've got 1 here that's even. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 3 lots. So 3 times 4 is 12. This one down here, earn points depending on the total number of trees on your island. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 trees. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 13. This is so bad. And then finally, we have our objectives. Oh, I didn't get that one. I definitely did get that one right. 9 or more cards each with a soil cost of 3 or less. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I've got that one. So I should have my leaf on there. So yeah, so I've got 22, 44 from that. There we go, 172. So they have completely and utterly wiped the floor with me. They have 209, I got 172. I think I was trying to do way too much in that one, trying to worry about the objectives, but really I should have been worrying about how many cards I have ended the game with in my hand, because if these were in my compost pile, I would be like an extra 20 points up and maybe would have won. So that is a solo game of Earth. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I will be back in a moment and let you know my final thoughts on the game. So just sharing some final thoughts on the beautiful game of Earth. This is one that I bought after hearing the Dice Tower speak about it and giving it like fantastic scores across the board. I was particularly interested in Mike DeLucio's thoughts on it just because I sort of marry up a lot of my opinions with him. And so any game that he's very interested in, I'm automatically also very interested in because, I would probably enjoy it. So I pre-ordered this one. I was very anxious for it to arrive. It arrived eventually and I was, blown away by the artwork of it. It absolutely just looks so stunning. What I really, really like is all of the different plants that you can see that you've never really even heard of before, but they also have like a little snippet of information at the bottom of it just to describe like a little fun fact or where it's found or something about it. So all of that, sort of the aesthetics of the game are just top notch. It looks so good on the table. It's all the colours really pop and it's just really exciting to sort of draw new cards and see what fun flora and fauna you're going to find and what interesting things you can find out. So before I get into the gameplay, I will expand a bit more on the aesthetics of the game and the components, because one of the things I've heard people talk about a little bit is the component quality and that they were a little bit disappointed with it. I think that's a little bit far-fetched. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's nothing to sort of write home about with the component quality of any of it. But for the price point that it's at, when you sort of consider the wider board game market, I really don't think that there's anything wrong with it at all. Some of the cards, they are slightly thinner in the card stock, but if you consider like how much heavier the box would be if you increase that card stock thickness, just because the amount of cards in this game is just humongous. I think there's more cards than even Ark Nova, and there's a lot of cards in that game. If you consider like how much heavier the game would be, I really think that they probably made the best choice here. The colours as well, like even though it really pops on the table, some of the player boards are very sort of muted, so it looks a little bit, I would say, slightly bland, but you're not really looking at that player board very much. You're actually much more interested in your tableau and the pretty pictures of the plants that are coming out. So I'm, just maybe brighten it up just slightly, but there's nothing to really worry about either. People have said that the boards are a little bit thin. They're on the thinner side, definitely, but they're not like thin by any means. They're still proper cardboard. They're not like a paper mat like you get in some certain games. So I don't really think that that's too much to worry about either. There is a little bit of warping, but definitely not anything that significant from what I've seen. Another thing that I've seen people talk about are the printing colours of the cards. So unfortunately there is like a very slight misprint in the green colour cards. So some of them are very, very slightly lighter than the rest of the deck. But quite honestly, it makes absolutely no difference. It's not like there's a misprint in the colours of the actions, which is where it would be really important. So all it is that it's showing you that it's like a flora card and it's just this slightly different green. And yes, it is a little bit annoying, but ultimately you're not even looking at the colour of that card. That's not an important colour in the game, and it looks pretty seamless when, like, I'm looking at my tableau that I've built right now. I can see, when I look closely, I can see some very slight differences in that green colour, but when it's all out on the table you don't even notice it, and it's not even going to be something that the vast majority of players will notice, so I really don't think that that's too much of an issue either. The only thing that is very slightly off are the wooden components. So there are some of the wooden growth tokens, like the ones that stack like this. Like this is a good one actually. It doesn't quite fit properly. They do like wobble around a little bit. But whenever you have wooden components that stack like that, you're always going to get some that are a bit funky in terms of their like moulding and the way they've been shaped. So most of them I found are absolutely fine. Any that do wobble around, just put it back in. You get so many of them. There's loads of them that come in the box. So just put it back and grab another one that does fit. Or they just say, you know, take the rest of the growth off the table and just use the canopy, the little coloured pieces, because then it won't fall off everywhere. So component wise, it's fine. It looks lovely on the table. So don't worry about the comments too much unless you are incredibly pernickety about your games. So I'll then go into the game from a gameplay perspective. I have played this one multiplayer once with my husband as well, so I will sort of touch on it from a multiplayer perspective as well as solo. But solo-wise, I am a little bit torn about how I feel about this game. I expected to like this a lot more than I feel like I do. And I don't know whether I'm just learning a little bit more about what my likes and dislikes are. I wonder if tableau building is really my sort of thing. But saying that though, I have actually really quite enjoyed my plays of it. It's definitely growing on me, I think. Funny thing to say. I really like how easy the AI is to run. So basically you are just drawing a card, doing an action that you normally would do, just like a lesser action, and then resolving what they are doing. It's very, very simple, very quick. The finicky and fiddly parts of it come from when you are gaining resources and then they are reacting to how many resources that you've gained. So it could be how many cards you've drawn on that turn, and unless you're like very aware of keeping them separate from your deck at that moment in time, you're then going to have to go back and count how many cards you drew. Or soil is a big pain as well. So if you've gained soil on your turn, that says, oh, they gain an extra soil per soil you've also gained this turn. And until you sort of really get used to that and keep it separate and learn to do so, it's a real pain in the backside and can slow the game down quite a lot. But that is just a minor error, and you soon get over that aspect. I really like the fact that they have implemented something that you're doing on the turn as well, so mirroring much like a multiplayer game, and something that everyone talks about when they talk about Earth is the fact that whenever you do an action, everyone else at the table is also involved, and they are doing an action which mirrors that one, just a lesser extent of it. So whenever the AI is doing an action, you are also doing something very similar, which is really nice. It does, I think, slow it down just slightly, because I'm not actually that interested in doing whatever action it is that they're doing. I just want to quickly resolve their turn and then get back to what I'm concentrating on, instead of like waiting around, and instead of sort of waiting around for another player to finish, because I'm the one that's actually actioning the AI. So I do sort of feel like they could have maybe omitted that aspect of it, but I guess it does sort of give this game a really good feel for a multiplayer perspective. It does feel much like a multiplayer game does, and so I do sort of respect that decision, but it is quite a lot to sort of do. So you're obviously doing a lot on your turn, but then you're still doing a lot for yourself on their turn before you even resolve what they're doing. And unless you're actually really sort of thinking about it, it does come to a point where sometimes you're like, oh, have I already resolved my bit of their turn, or is it actually their turn now, and whose turn is it anymore, because you're doing so many similar things. It can be a little bit confusing. So one of my main things that I think maybe sort of draws me out of this game is the fact that you're drawing, quite a lot of cards in the game, and you've got, like 4 actions to like choose from. But ultimately, what I spend most of my time doing is staring at the objectives that are on the table and the scoring endgame cards, and worrying about how I can gain hold of more cards that satisfy those objectives, just to get them out on my tableau somewhere. And I found that each play that I've had so far, that strategy has worked really well, and that's just a little bit disappointing because it just takes me out of the game a little bit. Funnily enough, this time around it didn't work to my advantage. I was too slow to get those objectives, but if I had got those objectives first, it would have been a much closer game. And this is the first game for me that hadn't worked. I think I've won every time against the AI when you're playing on the medium difficulty. So, I feel like just focusing on gaining, for example, the tree cards, like churning through as many cards as possible to get more and more trees and just get them out on the tableau. I find that a very narrow-minded way of playing, and it's probably my fault. It's probably not the way you're meant to play this game, but that's the way my brain works, and so I just found that a little bit dry. The only other game that I can think of that made me feel the same way was Spirit Island. Now, I enjoyed Spirit Island, but what I found was that my brain couldn't quite picture how that turn was going to go. So I played it a long time ago now, so I can't quite remember, but I knew that I wanted to sort of drive the explorers to a certain area and then sweep them into the ocean away, or get rid of that city. But I couldn't quite picture I could do that with that card and do that with that card, but then I couldn't quite picture where that third card was going or how it was all going to tie together with my second spirit. But ultimately I found that I didn't need to think about it very much. What I could do was look at how many cards I could play and how much, was it energy or something that you have to spend on that turn. Once you get to know the ebb and flow, because you don't want to overspend yourself, once you get to know that balance, you can just play 2 or 3 cards and then resolve it as and when during your turn, just looking at, I'll just activate something over there and then just activate something over there and see how it goes. And it's usually successful. So I just found that I didn't have to foreplan very much. I didn't have to think about that much. I could just play some cards and resolve it to the best of my ability, and then that's pretty good. And I feel like this game sort of mirrors that a little bit. I'm not really thinking about too much about the victory points on the cards that I'm playing in my tableau, about the specific powers, about the order in which I'm playing them. I'm literally just looking at the objectives and my scoring, in-game scoring criteria, and thinking, is this card going to be good for that? And if it's not, then I probably won't play it, even if it would mean that, I don't know, it's for example got a green action and it's going to really allow me to do lots and lots of stuff because I'm planting a lot during the game. I'm just not thinking down that route, and I think that's a shame, and I wish my brain would either go down that direction or the game would encourage you to do that. And I'd be interested to know if anyone else ever feels like that in these sorts of games, because I think it's just my brain. It feels a bit weird saying that as well, because it sounds like I think like I'm too good for this sort of game, but I really don't think that I'm very good at these games at all. Like, hence why I lost quite badly in this game. I don't think I have the right brain and mindset to sort of get my engine going in my brain and see how it all pictures out. So yeah, it's just, I don't think it sort of marries up well with me sometimes. Saying that though, this game has definitely grown on me, as I said. I'm wanting to go back to it a bit more, because I feel like I want to sort of carve out different pathways. So I do feel like in this game, a lot of the time you are growing, doing green action, and then doing one of the other three. And then you're growing, and then you're doing one of the other three, and then you're growing. And so I feel like it is quite repetitive and predictable. But saying that, I do want to play, I feel like I want to play this one again right now and see how it unfolds this time round with the same objective cards, and how I can identify cards and see how I can like compost more from my hand. Or I just want to sort of see how it unfolds differently and how I can get that engine running in a different way. So I feel like this has a lot of exploring that you can do. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities in this game, even though it does feel repetitive on your particular turn, because as I said, you are just sort of flitting from one of four options back and forth, back and forth. But the card variety is very good. There's hundreds of cards. The ability variety is very good. I love the fact that you're juggling various aspects. So you're juggling your compost and your growth and your sprouts, and the victory points on the cards and your soil cost. There's lots of things to think about. So I think there's a lot of multiple layers of interest and complexity to this game, and it does sort of lend itself to multiple plays, and I do feel like I want to get it back out again on the table. I feel like I need to play this another 10 times to really get the greatest understanding of it, basically. This game also is just insanely satisfying from a tactile perspective. Like, I love watching all of the stacks like come up on your tableau. It feels like you're really like growing everything from the ground up, and your sprouts are all coming all over the place. And I love the fact that you're sort of like able to recycle things, so you can put some like compost in, or get some compost going, and then you can remove some compost to like help grow something later. It's very thematic, and it's quite pleasant in that regard. It feels just nice. And one thing that struck me when I was reading the rulebook to this game is how positive everything was. Now that sounds really weird to say, but in a lot of games I find there's a lot of rules which say, so it might be, for example, you're not allowed to do the same action twice in a row. So if you did this action last turn, you have to go somewhere else next turn, or place your worker somewhere else. Or if you don't manage to do this, -3 points at the end of the game. Or, there's something negative, and they're usually fine, like you don't really think too much of it. But what really struck me in this game was how everything scores you points, bar a couple of events. But even then, there are one-time minus points at the end of the game, but you get all this bonus as well. So, at the end of the game, 1 point, your compost is worth 1 point for everything you've got in your pile. You've got 1 point per sprout on your cards. You've got 1 point per growth and canopy, unless your canopy gives you a different total. You get your victory points on your cards. So like everything is positive, and you don't have to worry about going to the same place twice 2 turns in a row. You can do a turn just after or alongside your buddy next to you. You can even flip the board over, your scoring board, to so it's not much of a race. So your objectives, instead of scoring 15 points and then 10, 11 points and 8.65, You can just do the same amount of victory points for whoever gets them. It's no race, it's just everyone will get 10 points if they manage to complete that objective at the end of the game. Everything is really, really positive. Everything's very forward moving, and that feels very nice, and it feels actually quite different to other games. Like I said, I'd never really noticed it before, but I feel like a lot of games sort of do put those restrictions on you and entwines a bit of negativity, but this one really opens everything out and really makes it very positive, so I can really see that people really would like this game quite a lot. What I really like as well is the fact that you don't have to fully resolve an action if you don't want to. So usually it's like you have to resolve everything as much as possible and you don't get a choice about it, which I always find is just a bit, you've really got to pay attention because you might not want to do that and it might be really detrimental to you. But you don't have to worry about that, because if it says draw a card and you don't want to draw a card, just don't do it. Or it says put some 3 growth down and you only want 2, just take 2. I really, really like that. I think that's so much better than a lot of rules in other games, and it's just overall very lovely, happy game. Like I said in the playthrough, I would really, really want a complete list of all the cards in the game, number them, and just give me an indication or clarification of how some of them work. Because there's been numerous times now where I've been in the middle of a game, I draw another card and I don't understand what it means. I don't know whether it's referencing itself as well. I've just interpreted it to mean it does because it doesn't say otherwise. In future printings, I really hope that they bring that out, or just some sort of further clarity as to how some things work, because I think that's really needed. But as long as you sort of clear up anything between players, you can get over it, it's fine. From a multiplayer perspective, this one was really fun. My husband really did enjoy this one, so it was quite funny. Every time I sort of get a solo game out and it doesn't quite hit me the way I thought it might, I play it with my husband, and he comes away being like, oh yeah, that was really fun. So it sort of elevates the game a little bit more for me, and it makes me a bit more interested, because I'm reluctant to get rid of games that he's interested in playing a lot more. Saying that, we haven't been back to it since yet. I do find like it is very much I don't want to say multiplayer solitaire, because obviously it is a very busy game, so even when I'm doing my turn, they're doing their like little action as well, so it's very there's not a lot of downtime, but when there's quite a lot of abilities going on, there can be some, so it doesn't get rid of that altogether. But it is quite involved, so we were very silent on our playthrough, so towards the end of the game, I was doing like an action and activating all of my abilities and reading it all through, and he'd already like taken his sprouts or whatever it was at that point, and so he was just sort of sat there waiting and looking at what he was going to do in a second. So although from one perspective it alleviates the downtime because you're also doing something on your turn, downtime isn't always a bad thing, because it allows you to think about your next turn, or just have a little bit of talking going on the table, which is sometimes quite nice. So it was a good game, multiplayer. It was just very silent and very quiet, because we were just busy resolving what our little action was on the other player's turn, and then suddenly it was your own turn, and it's like, I don't actually know what I want to do yet, let me think about that. And then I'm thinking about what I want to do as well, just in case he's going to go planting. Have I got enough soil to plant? So that's just one thing. It's a little bit strange. The only other thing that I can really think about from a solo perspective is the solo AI board. So it is just a little bit fiddly. So when they're gaining sprouts, you're having to put them all on their little like individual spaces. And as I said, they're in rows of 7, which I thought was a very odd number. Why don't they do it in rows of 10 and then put like numbers down the side, so you can say, oh, he's completed 5 rows, so he's got 50 points, or you can look at it at a glance and know how many points, instead of having to count all the rows and then multiply that by 7 and then add extra on. That was just a bit strange. At the end of the game is like 10 minutes of counting up, so I do feel like this game may overstep its welcome by 10 minutes, and that's the scoring time. By the time you get to the end of the game, you're ready to end the game. It feels like a good length, but the scoring is just a pain. You are, counting so many things, like your victory points on your cards, as well as all of the objectives, as well as your canopies, and you just need to make sure that you're counting the canopy or the growth spaces rather than the like maximum size. And your sprouts are worth 1, and then your compost is worth 1. And if you've got a lot of compost, that's going to take you a while as well. There's an awful lot to count. And so when you're doing it yourself, it's fine. But then you're also having to do it for the AI player as well. So that does just slow everything down a little bit. I wish they could tidy that up and tighten that a little bit more, just to make it a bit more of a swift end game. So overall, I do enjoy Earth as a solo game. I'm not sure to what extent I enjoy it. I do enjoy it, but I'm not sure it's going to be my favourite game of all time. Aesthetically, it really is very pleasing. I love looking at all of the facts and the cards that come out. It's all very beautiful and it looks lovely on the table. Again, all the components are really fun to play with and have all your growths like coming up off all the trees, like growing out of the table, and all the sprouts coming out. But ultimately, I do feel like it is just quite a fancy, dry engine building game that just doesn't necessarily tick my boxes. I feel like I just sort of go down a route that's channeled towards earning as many victory points onto the objectives, or satisfying those objectives as quick as possible, and ultimately just flicking through two main actions. So I need more soil, so I'll go there, then I'll plant, and then I need more soil, so I'll go there, and then I plant. So it's good, and I am interested to play it more, but ultimately I don't know if it's sort of ticked as many boxes as I thought, and I am quite surprised at how well, at the reception that it's got, I would say. I don't really feel like it's doing anything better than a lot of games on the market at the moment. But it's definitely one that I would say to check out if you're interested in the theme and the aesthetics of the game, because it is lovely to look at. It's, you know, one that you could probably sell on quite easily if you wanted to as well. So that's that aspect if you wanted to just give it a go. So that is it from me today. Thank you so much for joining me for the solo playthrough of Earth. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know down below what you have thought of Earth so far. If you do enjoy my content on my channel, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and you will be let know of any future releases of videos that I do. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you on the next playthrough. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.